Up everyone, TwistedAbsolution back again, and it has been a very long time coming. I did not mean for it to be this big of a hiatus, but I figured since I came back on my other channel, I might as well come back on this one, even though I've been gone for like 2 months longer. So, basically this video is going to detail my support, or my political views, on one of the candidates that isn't exactly well received by a lot of the media. So before we get into that though, I'm just going to give a brief overview on where I'm coming from. I am primarily Democratic. I voted for Obama last election because I couldn't stand the idiocy that was Mitt Romney, but hey, he's kind of proven my point now with his comments about how Donald Trump needs to show his tax returns for whatever reason, because, you know, that's personal, private information, and he should share it with everyone, you know, because personal and private means public, means you should actually go and display that, you know, yourself, idiot. So, basically, I am primarily Democratic. I was supporting Bernie Sanders for the longest time, ever since last year when he unveiled his campaign, and basically he seemed like the nice guy, the underdog, if you will, and it seemed like he was picking up a lot of steam, a lot of momentum. The media was largely ignoring his campaign in favor of Hillary Clinton, which I cannot stand. I can't stand Hillary for many reasons that I will probably outline in this video as well. So, basically with Bernie Sanders, I liked his whole stance on political equality and economic freedom. He did outline a little bit of socialistic policies that I kind of disagreed with, but you know, you're going to disagree with politicians on at least one or two issues that they have in every single instance. So there were things that I disagreed with him on, there were things that I agreed with him on, but the majority of it I actually agreed with him on, and I thought that he was fairly consistent in nature, unlike flip-flopping Hillary Clinton like a fish, going back and forth, fish out of water, flopping their tail, you know, on certain same-sex marriage stances. And she still can't even agree that she changed her mind. She wants everyone to see that she's always had the same stance, which she hasn't. So she's kind of lying about that. Basically, I have supported Bernie Sanders all the way back until, you know, since his first day. But now it's coming to the point where he's kind of going back on what he initially said. His whole vision for a political revolution, it wasn't just about defeating Trump. It was about much more than that. It was about unity. It was about bringing people together and overthrowing the system in place and actually instilling something that works. But no. He said his revolution would continue even if Hillary wins, but no. I kind of doubt that, just because of the fact that he said that he was going to drop out and endorse Hillary, supposedly. But then other sources are saying that he has no plans on dropping out. But I personally think, since Hillary is already the presumptive nominee, that he should just cut his losses. But I do not, under any circumstances, believe that he should endorse a shill, a corporate shill like Hillary. She stands for pretty much everything that's wrong with this country and should probably be in either jail or prison right now due to the charges against her with the emails. So that brings me to who I'm supporting now. You guys aren't going to like it. This is harder than coming out as gay. Jeez, I could actually title this as coming out and put like a picture of the person I'm about to talk about. Donald Trump. Yes, Donald Trump. Like I said, I voted for Obama, and I would have voted for Kerry in 2004, Al Gore in 2000, but now I am going to probably, at this point, vote for Donald Trump. I said it. So he is the only candidate that denounces political correctness. He's the only candidate that actually has solutions versus fear-mongering. Now, the other side will actually tell you that Trump is a huge fear-monger, but they are just trying to get you to be afraid of Trump. I mean, honestly, the only thing that they actually say in these instances is a Trump presidency would be disastrous, a Trump presidency imminent would be awful, he's dangerous, he's not fit to be in the White House, but they don't cite specific examples as to why. They just use blanket terms like he's a racist, he's a bigot, he's a sexist. They don't actually use anything that he said. This is evident by the huge media bias against Donald Trump and for Hillary Clinton. And guess who the media is owned by? Clinton backers. I am not even fucking kidding you. Look this shit up. So already Trump is at a huge disadvantage, but somehow he makes it into the spot of the presumptive Republican nominee against 16 other people. Hillary can barely hold her water against Bernie Sanders because he's still not dropping out. Now, Sanders, to an extent, I would still be supporting him if he was still in the race. I think he's the only candidate that can beat Trump, but Hillary, I'm not ever going to vote for Hillary. I would either abstain from voting or vote for Trump. At this point, though, after looking into what Donald Trump actually stands for and what he has actually said, I mean actually said in his full speeches, full context, and full meanings, I think he makes a lot of sense. I mean, we do have an immigration problem here. Radical Islamic terrorism is a problem, and people are too afraid to recognize that for fear of offending people. I mean, when we say radical Islam, we don't mean every single Muslim in the United States and outside of the United States. We don't mean that every single Muslim is a problem. Every single Muslim immigrant is a problem. And even Donald Trump, in his last speech, said that there should be screening. And I kind of agree that there should be. I mean, just on all immigrants, not just people from Muslim descent or from, who are Muslims. I think there should be screening on, or more intense screening on all immigrants. I don't think it's a religion issue, but people should be free to practice whatever religion they choose, which Trump actually fucking agrees with. He's not saying you can't be a Muslim. He's not saying that if you're a Muslim, you're a terrorist. He's just saying that if you want to come into the United States, there should be some screening. And with his temporary ban on Islam, for people coming in, he's not saying that it's going to be a permanent fixture. He's saying that until they figure out a way to screen these people, which these people being probably every immigrant, regardless of religion, I would hope so, they're going to temporarily put a blockade on it, put a block on it, which makes sense from his perspective. If you really think about it from the perspective of someone who believes that radical Islam is a problem, which it is. Pretty much every single terrorist incident in or out of the United States has been due to radical Islam, with the exception of school shootings, which are also acts of terrorism, in my opinion, get people, afraid and everything, but they're not religiously motivated. Everything that has been religiously motivated since 9/11 at least, and a little bit prior to that, has been motivated by Islam. And that's the thing. Islam, there's nothing in Islam that supports gay marriage, gay rights. They're homophobic, they hate gays, and basically they call for their death, their extinction, their extermination. And there are going to be people out there that agree with this, unfortunately, scourge of the world, but there are also people with common sense that actually is saying something needs to be done. Now, I watched Clinton's speech. I watched Obama's speech. Obama got a little hot-headed, started calling Trump some names. Donald Trump, of course, was a little bit more objective about it. Of course, he did sneak in a few jabs at Hillary, which I thought was a little bit out of place considering the time. But Hillary Clinton just went off on a tangent of nonsense. I mean, she just said we need to cut off money to certain places where they're Clinton Foundation backers. And then she just went in circles and started talking about how we can't demonize the Muslims, which we're not trying to do. We're not demonizing Muslims. We're just saying that there is a huge problem with the extremist facet of that religion, which there is. Just like there is a problem with the extremism of the WBC, of the Christian faith. Even though they call themselves Baptists, they basically practice extreme Christian views. So there is that. I'm surprised they haven't said anything about it. Thank God for the Orlando shootings, which I wouldn't be surprised. But to get on to the media bias of Donald Trump, it's sickening. It really is. That they would be this adamant against someone running for president, that they would make up lies, outright lies, and false quotes and false accusations, and twist the story to the point where it doesn't even resemble anything that he said. Just this on Washington Post. He blamed Obama, apparently. Apparently Obama was behind the shooting in Orlando. That's apparently what the Washington Post is saying. CNN, or the Clinton News Network, is constantly coming up with these false narratives for what Donald Trump is trying to accomplish and what he's saying. And calling him a racist, calling him a bigot, saying he's against women. You know, yeah, he might say things that are politically incorrect, but that doesn't mean that he is sexist against all women, racist against all minorities or whites. You know, anyone can be fucking racist, you know. It doesn't mean he falls under that umbrella, that blanket term that gets used way too many times. Racist, sexist, misogynistic, homophobic, you know. They're tools of the SJWs, that's all they are. And honestly, I'm not coming out to support Trump just because he's politically incorrect. It's mainly because Bernie Sanders folded, and he's going to talk to Hillary about potentially working with her to make sure that Donald Trump doesn't get the presidency, which is a bunch of bullshit because his campaign, his cause, was supposed to be about so much more than that. But I guess it's not. So, in the end, all I see is Clinton over here saying, vote for me because I'm not Trump, and then Donald Trump over here saying, this is what I'm going to do, here are my solutions. You know, I mean, of course there's name-calling and bickering back and forth, but, you know, the only way that I think I would ever vote for Hillary Clinton is if fucking Scott Walker was on the other side. I can't stand him. But that's really the only way. Other than that, I mean, I can't stand her. I can't stand what she stands for. I liked her husband, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna like her. I mean, Bill, you can campaign for your significant other all you want. I'm still not gonna bite, but in the end, you know, it's all up to free choice. This is our democracy at work, people. I mean, if you're not free to vote in whoever you want, then you're not free, which Bernie Sanders would know all about with the rigged election fraud, wouldn't you, Bernie? And now you're gonna vote for the person who rigged the election against you? I'd have more respect for the guy if he dropped out and did not endorse a single candidate. I don't expect him to endorse Trump. I really don't. But the question still remains. What is Bernie Sanders gonna do? Is he gonna drop out right away? Is he actually going to endorse Hillary Clinton, which I think would be a mistake on his part? Or is he going to just do the right thing and drop out, not endorse anyone, and not try and sway his voters either way? I think that's what probably might happen. I'm not entirely sure, but in a sense, I think that his campaign is pretty much done. Everyone who wants to deny it and is just clinging on to that small shred of hope, what you want to call it, is kind of out of their minds for thinking that he actually has a chance. And I'm sorry, but he doesn't. I mean, it's just in the numbers. I mean, the election was rigged. There was election fraud, sure. But is anything going to be done about it? No. The DNC have chosen their party's person, and now it's time to roll with it. I absolutely cannot stand Hillary Clinton, and that partially goes into why I'm voting for Donald Trump, but this next speech actually has a lot of weight to it for what he's trying to accomplish, what he's trying to say. And, you know, it kind of paints this picture of him as not such a bad guy, not a racist, not a homophobe. He's the first Republican candidate to actually endorse gay people's lifestyles. Now, he did say he's for traditional marriage, but at the same time, you know, personally, I think that's just a Republican political ploy because not a lot of Republicans are for gay rights, or for gay marriage, I should say. And he claims to be one of those people that is against gay marriage, but if you look at his actual speech and what he said in the events of the Orlando shooting, or after which, I should say, it's a strike on the people's ability to love who they want to love, live their lives the way they want to live them, and express their true identity. Now, is that the words of a hate monger, of a bigot, of someone who opposes everyone's rights, who is sexist and homophobic and all that shit. No, it's not. It's the message of someone who deeply cares about this country and doesn't want to see it lay in ruin. And I swear to God, if the internet was not around right now, if Trump would have actually ran for president in 1980 or 1988, when he actually first started considering it, I think that he would get in no problem. Because there wouldn't be all this media bias around him. And there wouldn't be Twitter, there wouldn't be Facebook and all this shit where people just go and share lies about him. And that's basically what it is, too. I mean, he never said that Obama was responsible for the Orlando shooting. He said radical Islamic terrorism. And really, that's what it was. It's not a gun issue. It's a terrorist issue. I mean, when it all comes down to it, did 9/11 use guns? No, they used a jetliner. They used a plane to crash into a building. You don't need guns to kill someone. And that's why, that's one of my conservative leanings. Even 4 years ago when I voted for Obama and I knew he was this huge anti-gun person, I still voted for him because I agreed with pretty much everything else he had to say. But guns are a huge issue that I disagree with most Democrats on. We do not need to be giving the government more power to regulate something that is a given right to us, that has been given to us by the Constitution for times like this when people say you have to turn in your guns or you're breaking the law. It's a slippery slope. And a lot of people refuse to acknowledge that. I mean, guns are for more than just hunting. They're for more than just self-defense. Of course, that goes into it, but a lot of people just like to shoot guns. I mean, yeah, they are used for acts of terrorism, but if not for guns, there would be knives, there would be weapons of mass destruction. There are also other things that people can get their hands on to kill other people. Homemade bombs. There are bombs. So it's not just guns, and guns are not the issue here. It is an act of terrorism, and it's the person behind the gun that really matters. Banning guns is like a call for banning vehicles because of drunk driving. To eliminate drunk driving, we have to ban all vehicles. To eliminate spelling errors, we should take away pencils or pens because pencils actually have an eraser. We should eliminate all pens, ban pens, and then have pencils with an eraser basically on it so you can erase spelling errors. The list goes on as to what it is. Ban McDonald's because they've got too many fatty foods. So it's freedom of thought, freedom of expression, and the freedom to own and shoot your own weapon, your own gun. So that's my opinion, and Donald Trump is pretty much right where he needs to be on that one. Pro-gun, shooting, pro-NRA, and that's another reason why I like him, I guess. And if you want to unsub me, fine. I don't care. I didn't need you anyways. I'm a lowly channel with like 8 subscribers, whatever. If you're gonna comment rude and nasty things, that'll just prove your point, or prove my point. Donald Trump's not the bigot here. You guys, or a lot of people, are the bigot against Donald Trump. And by just merely saying my opinion, I bet I'm gonna get a ton of flack, a ton of hate, and a ton of people telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. But that's fine. Freedom of choice, freedom of expression. You have the ability to tell me I'm an idiot. That's fine. I welcome it. Sure. But don't tell me that I have to vote your way when I don't believe Hillary Clinton is the best person for the job, simply because she's a woman. Thank you.